Welcome to today's session, and we're going to go over slash commands for Claude Code. So for those who aren't familiar, Claude Code will allow you to run these specific slash commands that can run additional instructions either for your project or for rules that you have globally. And so we're going to cover that today as far as what we're going to do. So if you're taking away any lessons here, you've been using Claude Code, this type of command should actually be able to kind of help you unlock, especially if you do a lot of repetitive commands. And so on Anthropic's website, they actually already have an existing set of slash commands that you can run. And so what that means is when you're using Claude Code, for example, here, and Claude Code's already loaded up, I have mine's loaded up in Cursor and I do slash. It already gives you a list of available commands. You can actually go down and see, hey, I want to configure my theme, or I want to configure some hooks, or I want to configure the IDE. And so any of these types of things you can run. And so as you can see, there is a way for us to actually make our own custom slash commands. And that's actually what we're going to go ahead and investigate. The command that we're going to go ahead and investigate and kind of get into here is going to be my design review doc. And so I actually wrote up an article and it went super viral because I said, I fired my design team. AI does its job now. It's not really always true, but it's basically, I have these rules that will actually review the entire design and to make sure it meets these specific guidelines. A lot of times when you're generating code, especially with AI, is that it likes to generate code, but it is always changing like the components. So sometimes you'll have some things that everything looks the same because it did it all in one prompt. And then the next thing you do, and try to add things onto it, it just doesn't look right. It's like kind of off a little bit, or the colors don't really flow together. So there's just a lot of backwardness kind of going on. And I feel like this type of rule that I have posted here, it's on my website, Fernando.ai. I'll have it linked in the description as well for those who are following. It actually outlines what the language model should do when it's reviewing its code files. And so what I want to do is I want to see if I can put this document inside of a slash command. So when I finish writing code, I could just say slash design review, and it's just going to go through and review all of the files and follow these guidelines. So this is a design review document that I generated using Anthropic following some guidelines. And I like to use Tailwind v4. And part of that is it's just everything is pretty much in its root system here for implementing with ShadCN UI. And a lot of these things do allow you to basically have code and things that are repeatable in systems. So when AI or someone is generating code in your project, you can then run it by these rules files, and then it's going to go ahead and try to fix itself as it goes. And so these are going to be super valuable. And I feel like this is going to be a really cool lesson for us to kind of think about ways to implement these things. And so this is something that I actually currently have as a Cursor rules file. I would always reference it in Cursor rules. But now that I'm using Claude Code all the time, I would always have to, mention the file. So let's go ahead and see if I can kind of get in that going here. So according to this documentation here on Anthropic's website, in order to add a new command, it kind of is broken down in a couple pieces. One is you want to do a prefix and then what the command name and what the argument is. And so the scope is either going to be for the project specific things. So that means you can only run these commands in your project, or the other scope that you have is for users. So specifically everyone who is a user on your system will have access to it. And the way that breaks down is if you're sharing a project with the team and you want everyone to have access to this design rules, you're going to want to check this in locally into the GitHub repo. And the way that you would do that is basically just put it in your .claude/commands. So in my actual app up here, you can kind of see I have a .claude, and then you can see it already has a settings local type of thing. And then we just create a new folder called /commands. And so the way that you can do that in the terminal is just doing mkdir-p. So it's going to create a folder. If the folder already exists, it's just going to continue to be there. And then it'll just create this commands folder. So check this out. If we do, I'm just going to open up a new window. And if we do ls, you can see these are all my different folders here. And then it's not going to list the hidden ones. So we do ls-la, so that list all. And then it's going to show us all of the different documents. And it's going to also show us the .claude here, which is basically what we're seeing up here in Cursor. So just kind of with that out of the way, I do Command K to clear out the terminal. And then let me make my head a little bit smaller so that you can see everything I'm typing here. So if we just paste in mkdir-p-commands, you see that it actually creates this new commands folder. And this is where we're going to put these commands in. So this is very project specific. and so that these rules live here. And basically all it does is just this little file that's a markdown file. So I could just go ahead and copy this. I'm just doing this line by line so that we can see it, and then I can do my own design review doc next. So let me go ahead and see if I can do this here. And here we go. And we can see what it did. It created this optimized MD file. And then this is exactly just the command that we can do to run this type of thing. So in here, we can just basically, according to this example, we should be able to run this command by doing /project, colon, and then what does it say? Optimize. So optimize is basically the name of the file here. So optimize. I know, it's my bad. There's no problem. I was just kind of making this face just to be funny. So I'll analyze your project and identify optimization opportunities across different areas. Let me start by examining the current code base structure and performance characteristics. So yeah, basically it's now going through and following this. I'm just going to go ahead and hit escape, but this is not exactly what I want to do. But as you can see, we just have one line of set of instructions. So you could just run this command over and over again, and it's going to keep doing that. So /project, optimize, and then it'll do its thing there. So that's just a FYI for those who are following along. And so I think the one that I want to do is basically design. So this is the actual document that I want it to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and just basically, another way to add files is if you do like mkdirs, I can just basically, go to commands and hit new file, like right click and hit new file. Or if you click this folder here in cursor or something like that, you can just hit new file here. If you're actually in like the command line, if you just, cd into a directory, like on the Mac, you could just drag actual like folders into it and I'll have the full working path. Hit enter. So that will change the current directory. PWD will give you basically the, mapping of where you are. So if you ever get lost, it'll show you, and we're currently in the commands folder. So if you want to create a file, you can just do touch and then whatever file you want to do. So in essence, I can do design, design.md. And so basically it's just going to create a blank design file. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do here is just copy and paste my rules file. So I have these rules files that are currently here in the design reviews thing. So if you go to Fernando.ai at the very top, you're going to see a thing that says over here, it says design reviews, automate the UI standards with cursor and LLMs. So in here, I actually, if you scroll down towards the rules files, you can actually copy it just by hitting this. You have to hover your mouse because that's not going to be there. You hover your mouse here, then this will be revealed and this will be copied. So this is the exact rules and guidelines that I use. And then you can just go over here to design and just paste that in. So you'll have everything here. And so what I can do instead of optimize here, I'm just going to go ahead and clear everything. So Command C would just kind of create a new line for us. And I'm just going to do /clear. So that'll clear everything out, the entire conversation. We can start over again. So I can just do /project and then :design. And so that's going to reference our design command here. And then I just say, enter, and it's going to probably do something similar. It's going to be like, hey, I'm going to ruminate over this and see what's going on. And now it's basically, I'll help you understand the design system for this transcription project. Let me go ahead and check to see how this design system works. So I have a friend who's calling, and his name is TechFriend. Let's see what's going on. Yo, TechFriend, what's going on, man? Let's see if I can get you into the room here, and let's go ahead and cook together. So while this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this pop in here. So I'm going to assign you to guest 1. And so that way we can, chill. Hey, what's up going on? What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can. So as of right now, basically what I'm doing is I'm showing some folks how we cook with Claude Code. And so in Claude Code, what's happening is that we're going over the new / commands. And for those who aren't aware, TechFriend is a good friend of mine who actually is coding a lot with AI. And if you haven't had a chance to follow him, definitely follow him right here up above. And the reason why I brought him on is because you're coding a lot as well with AI, but you're also using another app, and that's called Augment Code, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool. So for the viewers who aren't paying attention or who haven't been kind of like, there's a lot of stuff that's moving really fast. But I've been hearing a lot of Augment Code. And I'm really glad that you're able to kind of join me on the stream today because I'd love to see some of your workflows. And I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to maybe even code together like a little app or kind of, vibe and stuff for a little while. Because one of the things that I saw on Twitter, which was really funny, is that somebody's like, can somebody make a Tinder UI where literally you can just swipe left and right for like bug reports or something like that and see if you can do certain things. So I have a V0 project which I actually already built something like this before, but it'd be kind of fun for us to kind of vibe together and use our different things and kind of learn how to do some of this stuff. And so yeah, like that's just kind of where we're headed with this and so forth. So for those who are just joining in, we're basically talking a little bit about the slash commands that Anthropic has. This has been in the system for a little while, but I think they're just kind of now promoting that you can create your own slash commands. And then how we create them is just by literally just putting a markdown file in the actual directory, like here in our project. And then if you want to put it into your own root folder, which is your own user folder, you would have to not put it into this project, but you would put it in the little tilde. And then you would just call it just by the prefix there. So you would do slash user security review. And then you see the difference here is that if you put the tilde in front of it. So the tilde means that this is your current, working directory. So if you just do cd tilde and you do pwd, so the present working directory, it's users array, as opposed to where we were before in our project. So cd, and I just go to like commands. That's actually in the workspace of where I have my code. So that's a little bit of the differences there for those who are kind of wondering though. So yeah, so, man. So yeah, how you been?
Yeah, good. I just got back to SF on like Sunday night.
Oh
It's good to
wow,
be back.
sweet man. That's so cool. Do you want to share your screen here?
Sure. I'm not really like showing anything. So
Okay.
what's the plan?
Yeah, no, I thought it'd be interesting because I know you're coding a lot with Augment Code and stuff, and I kind of wanted to learn a little bit more
Mm.
about that because I know some
Oh
other,
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
and
Yeah,
so
I can give like a little walkthrough.
okay, yeah,
Um,
because I'm not really too familiar with it, and I mean I've heard so many good things, and so I just kind of want to hear like firsthand, like how legit is it?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, I'll share my VS Code here.
Cool. Let me go ahead and see if I can grab that one
So
here.
actually, this
Hmm,
probably isn't the best project to do it,
okay.
but I know a lot of these companies kind of say this, and that is that their indexing is really good,
Hmm.
or like I know like there was like this little Twitter beef between like Cursor and Windsurf being
Okay.
like, unlike I think it was like Windsurf first was like, unlike Cursor, we actually index your code base, and then Cursor was like, what? No, we do that too. And then there was like a little back and forth, but
Right.
yeah. Anyway, like from my experience, the way that like Augment's context engine works,
Uh
which
huh.
is now like I think Cursor and stuff are doing it the same. It's like not just the indexing or like embedding or however they do it, but it's like a combination of that and like the agent that goes out and finds files and like finds the right sections and stuff.
Hmm.
From my experience, that part has worked really well in Augment, and I think like a lot of people that I've tried it share that sentiment.
Oh.
um yeah, like it's kind of like, I don't know how to show you. Like this one, I just have my like leaderboard here, but
Okay.
it's not really that big of a project. I think it'll really shine with like a big project.
Mm.
And then yeah, I think also Augment was one of the first to release like these remote agents, like kind of Cursor's um background agents, I think it's called in
Okay.
Cursor, some background tasks.
Okay.
Um, yeah, you can like just pick any repository you have, any branch, and then just like kick off something in the cloud
Hmm.
and like have many in parallel. Here I have
Wow.
a bunch
Oh my gosh.
um, that we're running.
So do you prefer this over like Claude Code or Cursor and stuff right now? Like
So I
what's your
haven't
stat?
actually like
Yeah. Yeah.
got to try Claude Code, but yeah, I did make the switch from Cursor to Augment about,
Ooh.
I don't know, it's actually probably like 2 3 months ago when Augment like just released their agents around that time.
Got it.
Before that, it was just like a chat thing, which I hadn't tried.
Oh, interesting.
But But yeah, like at the time I made the switch, I thought the agent on Augment was a lot better.
Ah,
And that time, like Claude Code didn't even exist. It's just changing so fast, you know. It's really hard to keep up. And now we have like so many new agents like AMP and
yes.
Open Code.
Wow.
Like there's so many like ones that are just like popping up and becoming real popular. Yeah.
Oh man, that's super cool. Yeah, I was just kind of catching up here with the chat. So Joshua says, I went from VoiceLink to WhisperFlow. Seems all right so far. Yeah, I use WhisperFlow as my daily driver. It's so great. It does exactly what I need without shoving power user functionality in my face from the get-go. Thanks for WhisperFlow. Recommendation been mapped to the function key. It's so nice. Yeah, I pretty much use WhisperFlow all the time. I created a voice mode. This is a get voice mode from the Twitch stream. Natural voice conversations with burst work best for the voice editor. Okay. Oh, that's a cool project. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think that's really cool, Mr. Voice Mode. Ray, you should do a stream trying Factory AI. Are you familiar with Factory AI?
I've heard of it, but yeah, it's another one I haven't tried.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Too many code streams. Yeah. So I was just kind of checking in on my sauce here and seeing, let's see, are we ready yet? How is my coding with Claude Code going? So this is just a review here. So it's basically just done a review to do these types of things, and it's telling me about areas improvements. So there are some areas in my code which it basically says it's using 5 font sizes that are like too big, basically. And so I definitely need to fix some of that. And then there's also some design elements that need to be changed. So like I have different font systems. And so you can see if you let, kind of vibe with AI for a little while, it's going to create all this code and like design inconsistencies. So having a document like this is super powerful. And for those who are following along, you could just grab this on rayfernando.ai. It's just to automate AI standards with cursor and LLM. So you'll kind of see this little thing here. And then at the bottom, I'll have like a little rules file here that you can just copy and put that in as a slash command. So these slash commands and these types of rules files can work across all your different code bases. So like in, I think one of the things that we talked about maybe building together or something like that, TechFriend, was I worked on something which would allow you to swipe like left and right for projects and stuff like that. And basically it's just kind of gamifying the whole like, creating a Tinder UI for bug reports and stuff like that. Let me go ahead and see if I can find that, because I think it's like the Tinder.
Yeah, I think that's a
Swipe.
cool idea. Like, especially if it's proactive, like you have like some kind of agent that comes up with ideas for your code base and like bug fixes and optimizations, and yeah, sends you like these Tinder cards that you can swipe on to be like, okay, start working on this, or no, don't worry about that.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
I'll have to find it. I have a life tracking app, Google login. Where did it go?
I think I can find what it was called for you. It was called React Swipeable Setup.
Okay, React. You know what? Oh, I guess go recents. React.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. Cool.
There you go.
Awesome. Let's see if I can show y'all what's going on. Put ourselves over here. So basically, Wayne Sutton from Convex basically hit me up and said, "Hey, I think he was vibe coding, and then he had something. It's like, I'm wondering how I should integrate this." I'm like, "Oh, let me just use V0 really quick." I love V0 for prototyping, and I find this is to be like super duper helpful. So you can like skip, and this is literally just a game. Or you can swipe left or you can swipe right. I'm swiping with my mouse, which kind of sucks, but this actually works on mobile. And so there is an actual documentation called React Swipeable Docs. And so I just copied and pasted this. So if you're looking for a library for this, you can just do React Swipeable. And then you can actually see this type of library called React Swipeable. So if you're building an app on the web and you want it to be like touch responsive and have like these swipe gestures, you can actually just use this library and then just tell an AI to reference it and use it for yourself. And so you can just go to the documentation. It's a pretty much a simple implementation. You can actually see if I swipe up, down, left, right, it actually can track you. It tells you kind of what's going on here. And so the way that you would architect something like this is basically you would just take these gestures and then map them to something that you want to do in your app. In essence here, I'm saying I'm listening for the gesture right or gesture left, and then, animating accordingly. And all I did was just give it the documentation in V0 about, exactly what you see here, and then even examples as well. And then I just gave it some screenshots about like an app that I wanted to build. This is like Wayne's app, and so all I did was just kind of make my first version and so forth, and V0 pretty much built everything. And so I thought it would be really interesting to maybe see if we can take this version here that we have, and then maybe see if we can do a version like this for Cursor or for Augment Code. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, or like a platform agnostic one.
Yeah, cursor.com/agents. So for those who aren't familiar, if you have Cursor agents, you have this like cool UI here, and it should allow you to like, let me see if I can log in. You can run these agents now on the web, which is really, really cool. And I know, so Augment Code has its own background agents as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Ray, tell TechFriend to show off Augment Code working on his game. Oh, you have Augment Code working on a game?
Yeah, Doom actually comes into my Discord and chat a lot, and he loves. Yeah, I don't know if I showed you. I mean, I can show you the game that I've been working on.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Let's go see if we can take a look. Ryan Carson, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. It's good to see you here, man.
Sure.
Yeah, we're just kind of hanging out a little bit, kind of doing a bunch of stuff, like cooking with a bunch of sauce here. So earlier we were talking a little bit more about agents and so forth, and then sorry, we talked about slash commands, and then I was basically kind of getting into Augment Code and other types of coding stuff that's besides Claude Code, and TechFriend has been coding a lot with using games and so forth like that. And what I was taking a look at also was like kind of the web agents dashboard here. And so these are some of the stuff I've been using on the web. And so if you have it on your iPhone, it pretty much looks something similar to this. And for the web agents, or for like the dashboard, I think here's the dashboard and here's the spending. So if for those who aren't familiar, if you're using Cursor, you have the access to this thing called like background agents. And so you can run these things while you're on the web on your phone, as long as you just go to cursor.com/agents. And then you could just give it some information as far as anything you want to do. And so it takes your code that's already basically in GitHub and then launches it in the background and starts basically, running its own environment, and then, doing different types of features. So, I wanted to, like, a lot of the times I have some bugs that I need to fix in my head. And so I just tell the agent to fix it. And it's kind of helpful because by the time I get back to my desk or do something, I can actually start to review the code, and I just start asking my repo questions. And so it's really nice because, like, even if you aren't going to commit this code, it's just super helpful to have that implementation details or anything that you want to run in the background they have questions on. When you are in this section here, you can actually select which models to run. And so you can select not only one model, but like 2 or 3 models to run at the same time. And depending on your plan and your limits, you'll basically use up your limits pretty fast. If you have, like, especially Opus Max checked. I just have the $20 a month Pro plan, so then you should be able to get this type of thing. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a heads up of kind of what it is. So you give it one command like I did here, and it kicks off 2 jobs. And so each model will have their own job, and then they're going to return their own results. I do find that O3 consistently gives me really good results. And Claude Sonnet, it just depends on kind of the task that you're asking. So Abe says, asking your repo questions is wild, by the way. Yeah, it's the best thing ever, I feel. Like, AI has been super helpful for this type of thing. Should I punch it back to you here? Let's see if I can.
Yeah, I can show off my game if you
Okay,
want,
cool.
or just like
Yeah.
talk a bit.
Yeah, that's good.
About,
I was just kind of
so yeah, like I had like a bunch of these augment credits left.
I think we're in okay, cool. I think the wrong window is shared. That's probably why.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
It's all good. Technical difficulties is fun. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Is that better?
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, sweet.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Yeah, so this is built-in 3JS, like React 3 Fiber. It's fully open source, and yeah, so like not yesterday, like a few weeks ago, I had like last week I had all my Augment credits running out, so I was trying to like spam as many features and remote agents as possible, just working on this game.
Wow.
And I made I did it all on stream, and I made like a little edit. If I don't know, anyone's curious, just YouTube/@TechFriend, how I used AI to build my MMO game. But I can show you like the pull requests here. Like I have a few I didn't merge in that were cool. Like implement a skill system with like shield and like force field ability. So this was
Wow.
just like kicked off and one shot with Augment's remote agent. Gives you a
What?
really nice PR, and also because I have it linked to Cloudflare, like CI/CD, it gives you like a preview URL, so I can actually click on this and then see this front end change here, and you'll see here down the bottom left hand corner there's like a shield icon. I click that and I get like the force field feature I asked for, just like for me able to test it, just fully
Bro,
remote, like not even taking up my resources. And like while I
that's
was
insane.
having that going, I had like four other remote agents doing other things. So one of the other ones was like a sword. Where's that? Yeah, sword attachment. And then yeah, just like that, I can test this as well. I think, did I have a sword here? Yeah, sword. Boom. And then obviously
Wow.
very primitive, but a good like starting point prototype for a sword. Yeah.
That's impressive. And how long did it take you to get started with the game, and like how is this workflow? Like what made you change to Augment Code, I guess is my question. Yeah.
This game I've been working on for a long time. Like yeah, before or around like when ChatGPT came out, maybe like slightly before that. What made me change to Augment? I was working on, I think I showed you before, Chaos Coder.
Oh
I
yes.
had some problems. I was like in like a debugging loop with Cursor, and I spent like, I don't know, it felt like many days like trying to get out of this death loop with the Cursor agent. I just didn't make any progress. I gave Augment Code a go, and I was able to get out of that debug loop and like fix that issue in like a couple hours, I think. And I
That
was like,
is
okay,
incredible.
this just feels like it just works better. So I just made the switch
Wow.
then. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the cost like? Is it kind of the same?
The cost, I'll show you the pricing. People like really like Claude Code Max plan in
Mm-hmm.
my, especially in my Discord. Everyone's like, yeah, it's like unlimited for 100 or 200 bucks,
Got it.
and they really like that.
Hmm.
But like, I struggle to like, so I'm on this $50 plan with Augment. You get 600 messages, and I struggle to use this. I mean, I'm
Mm.
not like that heavy of a user, but like I was on, I think like 400 ish or like 500 in the past 2 weeks, and I was trying to get it down, and I only managed to use like 100 because, in my experience, for a lot of the time, like you can just one shot pretty big features with Augment's agent. Like you just tell it what to do, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like they change it kind of often, but there was a period where it wouldn't like say, "Do you want me to keep going?" Or like, you kind of get that with these other agents. They either have like a max tool call limit, or eventually it's like, "Do you want me to keep going?" And then you spend another message. So it's message based also. So I'll mention that, like it's message
Oh.
based rather than token usage. So if you like, that's another pro tip I have with the remote agents is like I always mention, when you're finished, make a PR. That way you don't have to spend another message to tell it to make a PR. It does all the things, and then it makes a PR all within that
Oh.
one message cost. And you kind
Okay.
of like half your cost usage that way. Yeah, yeah.
So the basically the way it breaks down is your one message can actually carry you a longer way than maybe a message in Windsurf or Cursor because it get like basically stops right away. For those who are wondering, a PR is a pull request, and so in GitHub, when you for example, on my screen here, you'll actually see something that says like create PR. So in GitHub, if for example, if I want to integrate this, what it did is it actually created a branch called Cursor, and so that way, any code that it's building on its own is pretty much isolated from your entire project. And so if I liked what was happening here, I could just say create PR, and then it will actually set up all the code so that I can review it in GitHub, and then I can merge it back into my existing code base and kind of move on from there. If I wanted to continue editing, I could just hit open in Cursor, and then that will like allow me to open it in Cursor and then continue to iterate and ask more questions in the agent, or say fix this, now fix this, or that type of thing. So that's kind of, for those who are wondering, kind of like what a PR is and kind of its relevance and so forth. Yeah, it's kind of like part of like a development pipeline for those who are kind of wondering. Like how do you, like AJ, how do you figure out like what is your style? Like, you keep everything in the main branch, and like, how often do you check in code, and then what kind of stuff are you doing here? Like, what's your practice so that like if you have to go back, how do you undo everything?
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, I try to keep like production is main branch. So what's ready to be public, what's like the most stable, that's kind of main branch. That's how I see main branch. And then every time I want to develop a new feature or stuff, like best practice is to make a separate branch, like a feature branch or like a bug fix branch. That way, like, and commit very often. That's one thing I didn't do before, is like I tried to like make my commits like, really polished and nice, but then when I started using Ada, I saw it was just committing every change it did, which initially that was like very different to my workflow. I'm like, oh, I only want to commit good stuff. I don't want the public to see, or like I don't want the open, like the GitHub to contain all these like weird commits. But then I realized like it's not actually that bad. You don't really lose much having more commits. If anything, it actually helps being able to revert exactly the checkpoints where things change. So yeah, like reverting commits is pretty big, an easy way to roll back, and then yeah,
That's really
managing
cool.
merging.
Doom is a huge fan, obviously, because he's like calling you out. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, each branch doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you money. It's an idea that you can kind of start rabbit holing down. You can delete the branches later on. You can merge back in. You
yeah.
can do all these types of stuff. Daisine, how's it going? Saw your post this morning on Twitter, so I had to drop by. Yeah, thanks for dropping by. By the way, for those who are following, I'm basically doing this summer of streaming. And so I'm trying to stream every single day at around 8:30ish. I always say 8:30, but I tend to go live around 9, mostly because I'm still kind of getting started into the streaming thing. But we're going to be going in 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And, we're going to just going to be coding. I try to pick something that as far as like a topic. And so today's topic, basically, we were going through the slash commands. And as people are kind of funneling in, we'll just kind of circle back to, what that looks like. If you're coding with Claude, I know at the very beginning of the video, I pretty much set up the live stream so that whenever anyone rewatches the stream, right at the very beginning, you get the value. So that's kind of what we got the value. And then TechFriend just kind of called me in, sliding in. And by the way, TechFriend, I really appreciate you being a member as well, like on my stream, like, paying, the $6.99 a month to support this stream. I think that's just amazing as a friend. So I got to reciprocate back as well. And, kind of check out your stuff. And I also want people to know, because I know that you're coding pretty heavy with AI, and there's other people like Doom who definitely watch you and kind of watch how you code. And you're doing a lot of different stuff too. It's not necessarily that, we don't, we're all trying to build these apps and use AI. Like, I know for myself, I'm using AI to try to get freedom in my life, right? And I'm trying to build these apps and trying to learn and, use AI as far as a way to help direct my knowledge and to learn entrepreneurship so that I can kind of continue to grow and connecting with real people like TechFriend in real life. So yeah, I actually hope to go up to San Francisco, and then maybe we'll hang out and do like a real live stream. Maybe walk around cafes and stuff and ask people like what their coding setup is, right?
Yeah, dude, definitely, man. Hit me up anytime. I'd love to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Already a big fan of the stream. Yeah, yeah. No, this stuff, we really kind of get down and so forth so here. So I also like to try a lot of different tools and various things that kind of going on. So yeah, I think what I wanted to kind of try is to see if I can do a design review on certain files. So I think my overall code base was just like, it was reading this rules file, and then let me see if I can implement the design system. So in Claude Code, and then I'm kind of curious to see how this kind of works. Maybe so from what I understand from Augment Code, since the agent is like very proactive and it wants to do multiple steps, you could just, do you give it a plan first, or how do you like architect an idea?
It's
You just,
actually, re- in my experience, it's actually really good at taking a really simple prompt and doing the planning and the testing automatically. Some people might not like that, but I found it really good because the agent is on a loop and testing every time it makes a change. So
oh,
there's more like confidence in the output actually works. So it seems like by default in their system prompt or whatever, they have make a plan and then test the things afterwards. So
okay.
you're You're able to give it a simple prompt, and also they have a like enhanced prompt button. I don't know if you've seen that. Some other tools I think have that as well. So you can give it kind of a simpler prompt, and the enhanced prompt button takes like the context of your code base to enhance that prompt a bit more. Yeah.
Oh wow, I like that idea. Yeah, that's really cool. Huh. I think let's kind of see if I can kind of cook a little bit here with this project from V0, and then just kind of play around and see what we can get, right? So I feel like that could be really fun. Do either of you do the persona hacking for these builds? Like assume a persona of ML engineer, et cetera, et cetera. It just depends on my task and whatever I'm trying to accomplish. I think I do more of this thing called the architect. So drop the AJ a follow for sure. Definitely, man.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you, Dizzy.
Yeah. Or do the agents not need such prompting? It just depends on the agent and what's going on. I use another app called Repo Prompt. And so Repo Prompt is another one of my favorites. And some of the baked in prompts that are in here are kind of these types of personas. So as an architect, you can kind of see what he does here. So for this architect one, he'll basically say, I want you to act like a senior engineer and analyze a request and create detailed plans. This is extremely important because once you have this in here, and this is when I was actually developing like an app for like adminning, like the Canoe Club type of thing. You can copy this and paste it in, and it's going to give you like the architecture for all the files that you should change and the database schema and everything like that. And then once you get that plan, you can come back and then just do the engineering prompt. So the engineer prompt is a little bit different. It's going to actually say specify like the full names, show the complete code, and like format all the responses in like this type of format, which is super duper helpful for a system like this. And so this is kind of like very focused in that way. And then,
Can I chime in here quickly? I think it's important to know like which agents or tools already have a system prompt. So if you're trying to do like a persona thing, that's typically something you'd put in the system prompt. So I know for Augment and probably Cursor, they probably already have a system prompt. So if you're trying to like override that persona, there might be like some clashes there. Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because there's like Cursor is a good example too. So the Cursor has its own prompts. They have their own ML models. They have their own things. So whatever you're typing in that text box window, a lot of stuff will happen in the back end. So it may assume, it may not, right? Depending on what's happening and whatever you put in. Where like if you go into ChatGPT, like a lot of these people are now kind of enhancing their prompts in the background. Or if you're just working with a straight up model and kind of doing with that. So Doom is asking about Devin. So I'm going to get into Devin. I feel like I have another friend whose name is Yifan, and we did a Claude stream together, and he actually is using a lot of these types of background agents and PRs and using Claude in the PR workflow. And we're also going to take a look at Devin because Devin has now dropped their prices, and it used to be like $500 a month, right? I think you muted yourself if you get a chance. Okay, there you go. Yeah. What was that?
Sorry, I'm just like trying to respond to my chat without conflicting with your chats.
Oh, like, okay. So you're actually live streaming right now on your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, this is so meta.
Look like I'm talking and muting. Yeah.
No, I appreciate everyone who's just kind of coming to hang out. This is kind of like less. I think yesterday I did more coding, and then today is kind of like a little more like kind of hang out, chill vibes right now. How do you manage your context on a long feature chat with Claude Code? Do you wait for the automatic compact, or do you have another strategy? I do a couple things. I kind of compact as I go, but before I compact, I tend to tell it to create a plan or a document here. So let me show you a little bit of kind of how this looks like in sort of real life with my current project that I'm working on right now, because I do this like extremely frequently. So on the left side, I told it to create a documentation folder. And this documentation folder has been like going on for my entire project. And I tell it to create these plans. So as I'm coming up with various things, the one thing that I want to do for my app is actually create like a trial workflow. So like, start a free trial or something like that. And so I just tell it before I run out of tokens, or before, as I'm kind of planning and working out these features, I said, can you just go ahead and write the final plan in Markdown? And then I say, be sure to ultra think. And so the ultra think keyword will give it additional resources for the thinking. So that gives it about 32,000 tokens to run its reasoning, and that actually helps it. And then the second keyword I add is to do subagents before writing to the file. So the subagents will basically kick off anything else it needs to do if it's going to go ahead and read a file. Every subagent that gets kicked off will get an additional 250,000 token context window to do thinking tasks. So you get to apply in that 250,000 token context window, you get the additional, not the additional, but 32,000 set aside for the reasoning to read a file, run some rules and additional processing. Then that'll get sent back to the top level agent that's going to be gathering the information and then writing the file for you. So those ultrathink and then the subagents are the two keywords you want to use in your prompt to then generate this final task file. And so I find that extremely helpful because it's going to use that to also go back into the history of your chat window and then pull that information together to create this comprehensive plan. And so a lot of the times it's not really clear what exact feature I want to ship with the exact details. So that's why I'm using that single chat to do that. And once that is done, I just go ahead and hit slash, not compress, but then I compress the chat from there. And once I compress the chat, I still kind of want that history there. And the history that's there is that compressed version. That's a really good summary. And then I just tell it to then use subagents to go ahead and start implementing the plan that you see here. And I add the plan. And so that way I don't have to really re-explain things. And usually it's really good. Like this trial user upgrade flow, it's pretty massive. I mean, it's like you can see this entire planning doc is 630 lines. But it was a very long conversation, but it actually is very thorough and it has a lot of details. And I actually review the details by hand because I want to make sure that every implementation, as far as the features that I want, like tracking in social media, are the exact things that I want to be tracked. And then I could just go in here and modify it as needed and so forth. So that's kind of what I do before compacting. So you can add ultrathink to cursor rules as well, or does it have to be in the markdown? I have to add it because I'm using Claude Code. I have to tell it in the actual, as I'm typing into the box. So ultrathink is only available and has actually not two words. It's actually just one word squished together. If you're using WhisperFlow, it may separate the word. So make sure that the word isn't separated. It's kind of dumb, but yeah, I think, let's see, I can do Claude Code ultrathink. Actually, I wrote about this in my blog. So Fernando.ai. If you go in here, I actually have getting the most from Claude part 1, and I actually probably just do a live stream / video about this because I think this will be extremely helpful for folks. But in this is just the TLDR, if you want to send to a friend, how to get started, what do I do? Because a lot of people were asking me these types of things. Just get the max plan. That's all you have to do. And then as far as getting started, if you find you're using that limit a lot, upgrade to the $200 a month, but $100 a month can get you by for now. Start with planning mode, but these are the thinking modes. There's 4 modes of thinking, and these are the exact keywords that you have. So ultrathink will get you the max amount of tokens, which is 32K, and then 16, and then I think 8 or whatever, and going all the way back down. And so this is the reference for, this is not me actually making this up. This is actually, it sounds kind of vibe codey because it's think extra hard or think whatever. These are the specific words that are actually in the code of Claude Code. And that's kind of what it actually listens for so that it can do its thinking phases. So it says, ask Claude to make a plan for how to approach a specific problem. And then these are the thinking budgets. So these are the specific phrases. And this is kind of where it's coming from. It's actually coming from Anthropic itself. So yeah, it's kind of crazy if you kind of think about it. But I made sure that was documented here. And then it's a good idea also to reject plans. So if you're doing any plans and it's not what you want, make sure you reject it and then tell it to fix the plan accordingly so that you'll have the thing that you want. And then when I do /compact, I say, be sure to keep the details on what we did in the sessions. So as we're planning to do an audit or whatever the next steps of whatever your next plan is, I tend to write those details in here so that it can go ahead and compress it, but then keep some of the context that we need for the next steps. So that's kind of how I do it. Instead of creating new windows, I just compress it. This is my next task, and this is what we're going to go ahead and do. So yeah. Web access prompts. So yeah, this is a pretty detailed thing. I was actually probably going to make multiple videos based off this, but and I also have an example plan of how this actually looks like. So when you go through the whole thing, so yeah, it's a pretty long blog post.
Is this a new website? Looks really cool.
You know, it's kind of old, but I actually started with a template. There's this template, Notion template, Next.js, Transitive BS, I think is the guy who made it. So this is a really great template. So it's basically a Notion Next.js starter kit. And this is actually written with the Pages router. Oh, it looks like he may have updated it. I got to fix it. But basically it's all powered by Notion. You just have a Notion blog and
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all updated in real time. So as soon as I make changes to the Notion file, it just updates on my blog. And so, yeah, Notion's a really great CMS. So cool. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. And yeah, it's light mode, dark mode, and has the social images. It's extremely well detailed and everything. So I just modified it a little bit for my own thing. And this was before vibe coding and before the language model. So it took, I actually need to go back and now that I have access to Claude Code, start to like actually make the design more unique to me. Because it still uses Pages router. It doesn't use Tailwind CSS, like the version that I have, right? And I think he may have updated it since then because it looks like there's a whole bunch of changes up here now. So yeah, nice.
Raw web boss for your site URL. I think it's just rayfernando.ai.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, rayfernando.ai. Yeah.
Nice.
And this is just like a Notion page. And it's cool. And then like each page has keywords, and then each keywords, I added these features into the pages. Like this tags thing is not actually in the default template, but I wrote some code to use the Pages router to generate these tags. It took a long ass time, but but
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I started my blog like last week or so, and I thought the best way to do it was just try to get everything from a markdown file, but this Notion setup seems really awesome.
Oh, it's so fast. Yeah. Yeah, migrate or just start fresh and then just copy all the stuff over.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I only have one blog post, so it should be easy.
Yeah, Anthropic is on fire as well. Sign me up for that video. I will watch it. And are the sub agents something from Claude Code or Cursor? I use Claude Code in my terminal only. Yep, it's Claude Code. So Claude Code only. You can use it in your terminal. Just tell it that specific keyword. So yeah, sub agents, ultrathink, all of those keywords will work in Claude Code. And you're going to be up and running and screaming super fast. I think it's going to be a really, really good one. So yeah, Abe, that's what's up. Yeah, big shout outs to everyone who's kind of live streaming with us, kind of hanging out. Yeah, this is a much more relaxed stream today. Sometimes I really don't know what I'm going to get into, but I feel like, we always drop gems and can do really cool stuff here on the stream. I know people actually probably want to see more coding and stuff, but yeah, let me know what you guys want us to do right now. I mean, I feel like it's open-ended. Like if you want us to build an app from scratch or start from zero, like how do we do that? I'm open for anything. I mean, what you cooking with, AJ?
I would love to do find some open source repo.
Okay.
And then we can kick off. You can kick off like Cursor background agents. I can kick off Augment remote agents, and then we also do manually like maybe Claude Code, and I don't know if I can set up Open Code in time. But like all four of us working on the same task, like two AIs versus two AI assisted devs, kind of thing.
Okay, and then we'll call it the $1 billion app.
Yeah,
right, because everyone says that like you could with one person is gonna have a $1 billion company. Everyone's like talking all this sauce, it's like, come on, bro, just chill. Like that's like,
I remember you were doing like a multiple dev thing.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called. How did that go?
Oh, you mean like the 100K challenge or something? Or six devs
exactly.
one. Okay, so check. Yeah, actually that's probably a really good one. So yeah, I there's this like 6 devs one type of thing. So six I think 6 devs, 1 project. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Streaming while watching the stream. Yeah, the streamception. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. So let me see if I can pull this up here. So there's this thing called 6 devs, 1 project. And this is something that I participated in where what happens is I think I was the one that was actually started with the mission. So there's like a specific goal, and I did some research, and they actually kicked off a new schedule basically, because this is some new folks who are doing this challenge. And so this is season 1. Okay, yeah, here you go. Yeah. So I started off with the planning, and then someone else did the front end skeleton, and then someone else did the design, back end, auth, and QA. And so in
Awesome.
in this specific episodes, I looked up the project, and in my episode, basically, you can see my face. Yeah, it was 2 hours. You only have 2 hours to cook, right? So I came up with the whole plan and used O3 to find it. And apparently, there's this thing about medical documents because a friend of mine, she had some issue and she was going to pay like $2,000 to have this whole thing translated, 33 pages of medical documents. I was like, I think there's already something that could do this. And then I looked up in O3 to gauge on demand. Apparently, this is like a highly demanded thing. There's like 10,000 people or 10 million searches or something that come up per month for this type of like medical like PDF translation. And I was like, bro, that's an app. That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I wrote up all the specs and everything and then handed it off, and I think everyone just kind of cooked. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I
Did
think
it finish?
I don't remember. I think they did. So is it Med PDF?
Oh, view finished project. There was a button up the top.
Yeah, I don't think. Let's see. View finished project.
And a hero on the left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that's you upload the files and then yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, French discharge form, and then yeah, it was basically like you could do a subscription or something like that. Yeah. Yep. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, y'all cooked.
Yeah.
And everyone only had 2 hours each. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was actually a really cool challenge. Yeah, so yeah, the domain I think was called like medpdfnow.com. So yeah, I think it went offline, but they gave it all to me because I wanted to, like, I really like this idea a lot myself, and I was like, I need to actually take this and make some money from it. I'm trying to find my next $1 billion idea. So build an app from scratch. I'm literally making this app you're talking about. Just got approved by Apple today. Seriously?
Oh,
dude, that's
shit.
sweet, man. Dude, I need to have you on the stream, Dazine. It'd be really cool to understand, like, what stack. I mean, if are you coding with Swift, or like, are you coding with React? Like, would be really cool, React Native. One dev, 6 agents. One dev, 6 agents. What do you think, bro? I think that. Yeah, React Native.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I like this whole idea for this type of thing. And so an MP3 player that alternates between 2 or more playlists. An MP3 player.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So you could just say, I want this playlist and just kind of let it, basically like a DJ, but that's more curated because you're giving it several playlists. I can mess with that. I'm actually surprised that's not a feature already. But that's kind of funny. That's actually really good. I like that. I wonder how that would work.
I think there's something similar in Spotify. You can like I think it's a blender or something. It was like you have like 2 people share their profiles and it like blends them.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, to blend the 2 features in together. Dang, son.
Yeah.
Dang. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I like this app idea. What other app ideas could be interesting here? So I think, oh yeah. So you were talking about us kind of like picking an open source project or something. Is there anything that's kind of floating what you're interested in there?
Well, one thing, like, it's a bit hard, but it's a really cool project I like. I think you guys mentioned Whisper Flow earlier this stream. I'm actually using an open source thing like that called Wispo.
Wispo.
And
please share.
WHISPO.
Okay, Wispo. I see Whirlpool. Yeah, let's see if I can see this here. Wispo? Bro, is this NSFW, bro?
But Egoist. So Egoist is the original one, down at the third one.
All right, okay.
That's the original one. It's like, I don't know, they don't seem to update it. It's kind of
wow, 9 months ago.
Like some things are broken, but if you go, AJ47 is the author. That's my fork, which I fixed up a bunch of stuff and added a bunch of features.
Okay. AJ47.
Yeah, but
like AK47, but AJ. I see you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's what's up. It commits ahead. Bro, you're cooking.
Yeah, so I've added the Grok
It's probably
Initial
fast AF, right?
transcription. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Wow.
really
Oh, and
fast.
you got the Gamma model too. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that because it was the smallest, I assumed it'd be the fastest. So.
Oh my gosh. So this is,
Um,
does this work exactly like this? Look at this guy doing push-ups over here.
yeah, I can give you a demo. Do you want to see?
Please. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Let me, you may have to switch
Um,
screens for screen share.
yeah, I just have your tab.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
You're good. Let's, I don't know where. I guess. Well, like here's the UI. So it's a Electron app, I think. But
Okay.
you can build it for. I'll just put it. Oh, you can keep us on that side.
Okay, okay.
Sorry. I think you can build it for like any platform. On Egoist one in releases, he has builds for like Linux. I mean Windows, Mac, and Linux. I think.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I built it for Mac. Yeah, you just like put it like I'll select here. You just type like something like this: bananas are green. And yeah,
Dude, that's
like
fast.
obvious dictation. Yeah, it's fast. It's Grok. And then like so recently I've added the like an initial prompt here where I've got like random words that aren't in the dictionary. So I don't know. It
Oh,
hasn't been too good, but like like let's pick one that won't be good. Like won't be in the
Mistral,
dictionary. Like
AutoGen.
autogen,
Oh
I
yeah.
think.
Ultra
Let's
think as well.
see if this works. Autogen, agent GPT. These are cool words like auto GPT. And yeah, you can see it's like picked up that spelling. Whereas if I had this off, I haven't tested this. But let's see
Right.
if I turn this off. Let's try to do that same thing. Autogen, agent GPT. These are cool words. Yeah, see, it's just like autogen, like So you kind of like this initial prompt thing is really awesome because obviously
Whoa.
you're in tech too, so we have like all these words that don't exist in the dictionary that we want.
Bro. Wait, why
And
don't you
then
make
you
that
can
like a
also do
default in your like tech bro? Just like make a tech bro. Actually, okay, I'm gonna fork this repo right now. I'm gonna make that as like a preference, just drop down. That's open source, right? That's the
tech
whole
bro. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This whole thing's
Make a
open
tech bro
source, completely
profile.
free, and even Grok's like speech to text is free
Fire.
as
Yeah,
well. So
Manu, for sure. It's super fast too. Yeah. Wow.
and yeah, so there's also post processing, which I don't really haven't found a good use for, but you could definitely do stuff like, oh, actually, you know what a good use would be? So I have like this just to show, like edit, so there's always commas between each word.
Okay.
Obviously, that's just like not really that good, but like
Oh.
I could be saying like a sentence normally, and then you can see here it's like got commas in between each word.
Oh, I
But
see.
what could be cool? I just thought of this now. It's
Yeah.
like um, edit this to have dot points if you think there is a list.
Ah, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like if I'm like, let's open like Google Doc without hopefully doxing all my
Wait,
docs.
can I give you some guidelines?
Yeah.
So check this out. Check out my screen. This is my my window. So I actually have a transcript to active voice because I'm always doing transcripts and I
Oh.
literally have paragraphs of ideas. And what I do is I rewrite my ideas
Mm,
using active voice and following principles. So I had these rules like
yeah.
cut redundancy, maximize active voice, keep personal elements. So then I would add this as a dropdown, in a preference for this. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna fork this app and then contribute to it. So then like I could just add this into it because it's open source.
Yeah.
Everyone can download it and build it. And then I could probably even add in like convex to it, right? And just have these preferences that people can save per their user account. Oh, that'd be
You can do
fire.
anything you want.
You can do it for free, right? Like that's what's cool.
Yeah.
Attaches the
For free,
transcript. So
yeah.
I tell it this is the transcript. And so like it even has the example. So like I think I was just blabbing off about something here and like talking to my friend and like it rewrites the thing. Voice AI interview. What was I doing here? Here's an email to like someone about something, like here's I think a thought about Johnny Ive or something like that I was like, I don't think is looking for Steve. So like this is kind of me blabbing, right? And then I'll rewrite this transcript following
Yeah.
the style, right? And the personal voice. And then so as like make it actually make sense. Feel free to remove things so the idea really comes across. And so this is just kind of me iterating with the prompts and stuff forth. But I think there could be an interesting workflow in which instead of like it being so direct like this, but maybe we can have multiple steps. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways it could take it because I've been experimenting with this. But I feel like this prompt is extremely valuable, or something like this, type of transcript to active voices. Dang, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see some more contributions on it. Because I know a lot of people are paying for these dictation apps when they really shouldn't be.
Yeah, let's go ahead and paste this. I'm going to drop this into the GitHub link. I mean, I'm definitely paying for it, but I feel like I get the value, right? Like I get it on iOS. And so because it's an Electron app, technically I can build it and ship it to my iOS app, right? To an iOS.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Electron's a mobile native.
See, that's kind of where it messes up, bro.
What's your use case on iOS? You could definitely build it for
texting,
web,
for like emails. I use it for everything, bro. Like literally everything. Like I don't type anymore, bro. Like I just yap. I reply to like hundreds of Twitter comments and YouTube comments just by like just like super fast on my phone. Yeah. Like I have lots of hours of yapping. Yeah, because so I go for a walk and like as I'm walking, I'm just kind of replying to people, right? Just going through emails, just like boom, 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 boom. And and the thing I wish I had was that transcript to active voice, because sometimes I'll reply and have this like really long form, super long paragraph. I then copy it. I go into an Anthropic app. I paste it in. I let it do its thing, and then but those like or more like longer, thoughtful emails. But yeah, I mean, it's me. So it's like, and it's nice because it does remove a lot of my repetitive thinking. And then I learn how to talk better too, just from watching it. That's sweet, man. Holy smokes. Yeah. So so like, let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, you want to clone this thing. Let's go ahead and start from scratch real quick. Because I have to go to the bathroom pretty bad, but we'll just kind of do this. Terminal. So what I usually do is I pop the terminal open for those who are wondering. CD, I have a workspace. I just create a folder called workspace. That's pretty much where I put all of my projects. You can kind of see, like I have lots of projects in here. Theoretically, what I would do is just kind of make, different workspaces. I could just make one for work. I can make one for games. I can make one for whatever. But to me, I mean, I just dump everything because who cares? So git clone and then this thing here. Actually, should I fork your fork and then contribute? Is that how I should do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I'm going to fork his, so that way I can make changes and make my own branches and not really kind of mess with his repo. And what this means is basically I take his code, I make a little branch of mine. So it's going to be this AI power dictator. And then so I can make my own branches, and that way I don't have to like get a pull requests and review things. I could just kind of iterate on my own app. And then if I want to ship a feature, I would just make a pull request back into his project there. So, and then I can always sync the fork, which means basically I can pull in anything I want. Like if he makes changes and keeps pushing code, I can just pull in the latest changes and kind of merge them back into mine. So I just go ahead and copy and paste here, and then Command C, Command K, I say git clone, and then paste this in. So now I have this repo here, and then I should be able to just start cooking with this. Is there any setup instructions that I need here?
Yeah, I should probably get the README updated, but I think it's just as simple as like npm run dev or whatever. Like if you check out the
this is a massive repo. Like, why is it so big?
I hope I didn't push. I hope I didn't push there's like it because I just added the MLX model.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Bruh.
Yeah, that could be this. Bruh.
Bruh.
Yeah, cancel that.
Let's see. Okay, CD Wispo, WHISPO. Okay, and then I usually just do cursor dot.
You can clone the original.
Oh, it's cool. I already have the repo already downloaded. Yeah. All right, bam. Let's see.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I mean, I already got it in here. So, okay, so here I am in Wispo, right? So like index. Okay, cool. So in here, I just do, I could just npm install or bun install, right? Bun.
Oh yeah, fucking push the weights.
Ah, bruh.
Oh yeah.
Whoops.
Well, that's only 71 megs.
Yeah.
It's still should be pushed.
So I like bun as an installer. So that's kind of why I'm doing bun install, but I'm probably going to break a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see.
Yeah.
So cannot execute this because script not found rebuild. Users ray rebuild electron window. I don't have, maybe. What is this? Why? What? So there's a native dependency. Help me understand what's going on here. I'm going to remove this. Help me understand why this failed. I don't know. At web. And then just let the agent cook with O3 Max. That's kind of why I like my cursor subscription. Yeah, so if you have the latest cursor plan, technically you have like unlimited requests. So something like this, which doesn't require a lot of code changes, should let me, cook for a little while, which would be kind of nice. If I'm using like Claude Opus or something like that, it's going to definitely burn through a lot of those. I think in essence with cursor, you basically just get compute hours. And so something that uses a lot of expensive compute like Opus, you probably won't get a lot of compute hours. With O3, it sounds like you have maybe more compute hours, but that's kind of, there's nothing specifically measurable that we can say, okay, definitely do this or definitely don't do this type of thing. So let's see here. Search for web. Okay. Phonics. Let me understand why this failed. I don't even know. So Electron Builder is calling into install apps, and then it looks like it's trying to rebuild native dependencies. And ARM64. Okay. Darwin. Yeah, that's me. So script not found a rebuild. So, okay. So it's running the bun command, and it's going to run this bun build command. So maybe that's probably why. So I probably can't use bun to install this, probably. And it's probably going to say you should use something else. The short version, it tried to compile, but this module, so it spawned the package manager command. Bun CLI doesn't implement rebuild. Okay, that makes sense. So I have to do pnpm or yarn. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, pnpm.
Okay. pnpm install. Okay, so let's just do that. Pnpm install. Do you want to continue? Yes. Wow. Install all of the things. Dang. Cool. All right. So then what does it say? Keep bun, but skip the native rebuild step. No, I'm good. Okay. So what happened? It failed. Open source, bro. Let's see. What's going on?
That is one issue with open source. Is like
it's just open source. You could just clone it, bro, and just it just works. Yeah.
I never said it just works. I said it's free.
When repos have bad readmes, it annoys me. When I have AI to make better readmes. I mean, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I feel like this was before the era of like super heavy AI vibe coding, obviously, because it was like updated like 9 months ago. And the guy's just like, I'm done. No one's paying me for this. I'm good. What specifically did it fail at? So it's an object wrap bug. Oh my gosh, bro. Look at this stack trace. This is massive. Native O extension. So it's actually building the code by hand. That's nice. Oh, and it can't pull this file probably because it's not available. Oh, okay. What? WTF, mate? Dude, am I ever going to get this built? Dude, I'm becoming a build engineer now. Oh my God, this is so crazy. Okay. I did pnpm install. Now this.
Just get Cursor to do it for you, like install it, set it up.
I mean, that's why I did the agent mode. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Help me. That's a good.
I'm going to just say, help me cook. Yeah. Oof. This repo needs a lot of work just to get it to rebuild. Yeah. It's definitely a big hairy mess right now. Low key. Oh, node versions. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's normally the issue.
So,
Also, I'm looking in the package JSON and there isn't a build. I mean, an install.
oh, it's locked itself to node 20 for the types. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Node 20. Wow. Okay. Maybe that's it. So switch your development runtime to supported node version 22. Bro. Let me just clean install. That's probably why too. Oh my gosh. Let's see if it just to rebuild. I'm just going to rebuild everything. Oh wait, hold on. What happened? Maybe that's what it, like maybe my previous failed install kind of caused some issues. Nope, still same thing. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely some node issue. Bro, do I even want to get into this right now? Once you're on node 22 or 20, the PNPM install subsequent.
Maybe leave it for offline.
Bro, this is crazy. Okay. So, okay, for those who are wondering kind of like what's going on and kind of what's the big headache and kind of let me kind of break it down a little bit here. So, let me change the camera angles so that we get the right dramaticism. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a thing called node versions. And so we're like the latest one that's currently running is like node version 23, but you still have version 22, 21, I think even like 20 supported all the way. And it's going to continue to be supported until like the next coming, months and so forth. So what ends up happening is whenever you're using this stuff locally on your own computer, you're going to probably have the latest version of Node running, whether it's 22 or 23. And so they have these like package managers and these environment managers and can say, whenever you're doing development work, you'll, if you're vibe coding, you may not completely be aware of this, that you're grabbing whatever version of, the environment, which is Node, which is running the underlying code for a lot of these apps. And you're developing on top of it, right? So, you have to like use these thing called like node env or something like that. We'll say, hey, for this specific project, I'm using this specific version of node. And we kind of have to stick with that because it's not yet supported for the newer versions. And sometimes it takes some projects a lot longer to kind of ramp up to adopt the new APIs, and things could be like completely broken. And so to prevent things from being broken, they'll say you can't use or install this package because that version is higher than what we have supported right now. And that tends to be like, especially if you have some open source projects that are really, really big, they're really good about locking down, saying, okay, it hasn't been tested yet, and this is not ready to be used for these other versions, so forth. So what that means for us is basically whenever you're installing something, you may come into these types of issues, and you start to kind of go down this rabbit hole of making sure you have these environments set up for your specific projects, which can take a little while to get going. So depending on how much time you have and how much patience you have, if you haven't done this yet, this can actually take you days. But once you figure it out, you'll start to learn a little bit more about how the machine works, which would be really interesting. The same is also true if you're developing in Python. Your Python environments and your Python versions are really important, and how you manage those environments are really interesting. So I also have a document on Fernando AI for using Conda. So if you're using versions of Python, I use Conda specifically, and then you can build your own little environments to have all your packages installed and everything kind of contained in one container. So that way, when you're testing and you actually deploy to production, you know that everything you've been working on in that container should work as it's expected and so forth. So that's our little PSA for today, as far as like what we got going on there. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at with this. And then, if I wanted to get into the node env thing, I would probably just do nvm install 22 or something like that, switch my development runtime. So I don't think, how do I know if I am using nvm? And then, so I think you could just do which nvm, and it'll say nvm not found. So I don't have one. And then I have to probably install nvm somehow using some global package or something like that.
Oh, you don't have NVM. Oh.
Yeah, bro. I'm not a web developer, bro. I just vibe. All I do is code and vibe. Yeah.
What's your Node version?
Let's see. Node -- version is 23. Yeah.
Right.
Because I want the speed. I want the fastest of the fast node. Yeah. Yeah,
Fair
man.
enough.
Yeah, okay. So I would have to install nvm, command v nvm, and so this prints something like this. Let's see. ls. I don't think I have it. Yeah, it's not existing. Yeah. Yeah. So then I would have to install it using this type of package, and then it would put it in there, and then I would then use this to actually switch my versions. I should probably get this because that would just mean that I'm a legitimate developer. I would graduate myself from like vibe code extraordinaire to like actual legit developer, as opposed to like currently just influencer mode, which I'm currently in. I'm in my influencer era, bro. Like, yeah, that repo needs augment help, bro. Bro, Doom is no chill right now. Hey, Fernando, did you already saw cursor to dos, the new feature? I know that they're announcing something, and I'm going to be joining a Spaces tomorrow, so we'll have to check that out. I didn't realize it's announced yet, the cursor to dos thing. Have you heard about it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Is that the tasks, the like background tasks, or no?
Cursor to dos. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah.
It's just the background tasks, probably.
Yeah. It probably is. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah. Yo, Ray, buenas tardes. Why are you talking about NVM? Yeah, bro. NVM. The reason why we're talking about this is because there's actually a really cool project which will allow you to basically replace Whisperflow. But the caveat is it takes a little bit of work to get this project going. It's called Wispo, Wispo. And it's an AI-powered thing.
You can run the 8-month-old version from the releases in the base.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And I just have to put a key somewhere?
Yeah, you just set up your grok key inside the settings.
Ah, that's pretty cool. So
but this is the version that doesn't have the initial prompt and the stuff I added.
Ah, okay. This is really, really cool. So then you have this native app in which you can speak in, and then basically it acts like Whisperflow, and it'll like translate everything pretty much, or transcribe everything pretty much in real time, which is super duper awesome. It's really fast, as we saw in the demo earlier, and I think this is kind of really awesome. So yeah, is this for the background? For the app, not the background. Yeah.
My OBS froze.
Oh no, you're still live here, so it looks good.
Yeah, it's because I'm sharing separately too.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of a lot of different things. I know people kind of came initially to the stream to talk about slash commands, and like I'll very briefly went into it. So, for those who did enter the stream, if you're kind of seeing the title, just a real quick summary before I think we kind of head on out and come back again for the next day, so that we can kind of figure out some other stuff to do. Is Claude Code released this new thing called slash commands. It's been out for a little while, but you can now kind of implement your own custom slash commands. They have their own baked in slash commands like slash clear, slash compact, which you may have already been using, but the custom one is kind of new. And so you can just give it these rules files, and then you can actually access them by calling them. So in order for you to call it in your project, you can put a rule or like a markdown file inside of this location, claude.commands. And then from there, you can just call it with slash project and colon, whatever the project name is. So in this case, they just did project optimize. And then the instructions are literally just this one line in this markdown file. And so what I did is I actually have a design review document. And then I just put that as a type of thing. So in rayfernando.ai, if you go here, I have one that says automate UI standards with LLM, cursor and LLMs. And I actually have a rules. If you kind of like scroll towards the bottom, there's actually like a full on like design system that I use. So you can just copy this and create this as a markdown file, and then just copy it and just do slash project colon design.md, or design. And then if this file is in there, you should be able to actually just, execute and it'll review everything that's in your repo. Or you can say review, and then add a specific file, do a design review on my files, or do a design review on the latest code. And as long as you mention that, you're pretty much super duper awesome. This is the flow that I was using in Cursor, but what I found when I was using cursors is that sometimes with the workflow, it would always like stop short of certain files or wouldn't necessarily do the review in full length. So I'm going to be really curious to use this on a day-to-day with Claude Code and see how extensive it can actually be. And is it going to continue to do other tasks or launch other agents? And I'll adjust things accordingly. So this today was just kind of like a sneak preview of like, hey, there's something here. Let's go ahead and start using this. And then yesterday I was talking about these other commands that you can run in their, they're called hooks. So the hooks are interesting because you can actually run shell scripts in between all these different steps for the agent. So yeah, it's kind of like a Claude Code marathon right now because they're just shipping every day. Yeah. Yeah, man. Cool. So yeah, so I think a couple of things that I need to do for to-dos is like get my MVM set up and going. And then as far like for the next stream, maybe we'll figure something out as far as like maybe making a game or making something or getting one of these repos. That'd be kind of fun to kind of get together and start to like cook with something. So if you guys have any ideas and you're rewatching the stream later on today, drop some comments. I definitely will look through all the comments and then yeah, it'd be kind of fun to cook together. So yeah, chill.
Sure, man. Thanks for having me on.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Take it easy.
Yeah, for sure.